I've been hyped up to see this for a while, but man, did this feel longer than 90 minutes. What's going on, people? Alex Thorn here, and I'm just a rock and roller who in his downtime likes to watch movies while wearing a bandana. And this time we're talking about Late Night with the Devil, as one of my favorite people recommended it to me. But before we get to that, I gotta ask you to please like this video, comment down below, and if you would and you like what you see in this video, hit the subscribe button for me. But with all that being said, let's talk about what's on tonight's episode of Thorn Theater with Late Night with the Devil. In 1977, a live television broadcast goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into nations' living rooms. Now, that is a very easy way to describe this plot and movie. It goes a little bit deeper than that, and we'll go into it. But essentially, it's the 70s. This one particular host has been flailing in the ratings for a while, and he's looking for just about anything to bring those ratings up. And he's tried several stunts, and finally we are going to go with a live exorcism on Halloween. And all that matters to him at this point, especially after the things that have happened in his personal life, is success of the show. Now, David Dastmalchian plays Jack Delroy, and I've seen this particular actor in other movies, and he's got a very interesting face, let's put it that way. And in other movies, I found it really hard to watch him. In fact, I almost turned a couple movies off that I've seen him in just upon seeing him there. But in this movie, his look actually works for it. He looks like a 70s late night movie host, which means, you know, they're not very good looking and not very aesthetically pleasing for the camera, but he gets the job done and he does what he has to do in this movie. Now, with that being said, there's not a lot of character development for him. I feel like they tell you about his character, everybody else does, and they do these flashbacks to scenes of him and his wife who was ill and then passed away, but you don't get too much from him. The only thing I would say that he does well is, again, he has very unique eyes, and he does know how to transfer sadness, and then just the fact that he's not being sad, he's being more fake because he's being that host. But other than that, there's not much that comes from him. There's quite a few scenes that come from him and his new girlfriend, which is in this movie, Laura Gordon, who is playing June Ross. And even their interactions, just there's nothing that pops off the screen about him emotionally other than just his eyes. The first two acts of this movie, I'm going to be honest with you, man, is it a drag, especially because the characters on the screen. There's this one particular skeptic who is on the show, and I'm just like, my God, how has nobody clotheslined this guy? Like, how? I mean, I get it. He's supposed to be a skeptic. He's supposed to be a smartass. He's supposed to be condescending. But this guy is so dry to the point where it's like somebody needs to take a baseball bat to him, because, yeah, I can't put up with him. And then there's this other Latin mind reader, psychic guy, and he's just so over the top in the way he acts that it's trash. I'm sorry. The way these two guys act are just to the extreme of the character. There's nothing unique about them. There's nothing genuine about them. It's just like, you keep bringing the quality of this down. And it sucks because they're heavily featured in the first two acts, especially the Hispanic guy. He's the psychic. He's featured in the first act. And it's just like, I don't want to keep watching because of this guy. Anything of interest really for a horror movie really gets presented on the tail end of the second act. And then there's literally, and I'm not kidding, about a minute of chaos that represents horror at the third act of the movie. And then there's the ending that just did nothing for me whatsoever. Nothing. So I'm not wrapping this up just yet, but I'm just saying, like, it's interesting to see this movie get so much praise. It's interesting to see this movie have a very interesting concept that I've actually heard and seen documentaries on true stories of different, variations of this, but the way it played out is a little off for me. Rolling straight into the special effects, there are particular special effects that are good. There's a scene with worms coming out of one of the characters, and that looks great. It's practical, so that's awesome. The reasoning that everybody can see it, the gentleman can feel it, but the cameras didn't pick up on it, doesn't make sense to me. And then you've got interaction with Lily, and Lily's great. Lily's really charismatic in her role, especially right next to Laura. And Laura genuinely looks like she cares about her and genuinely looks like she's interested in Jack's character. But man, it's just because, like I said, things move so slow that it's hard to stay interested in it. Once the chaos does begin, there are some really cool stuff that happens now. But I will say something about these demonic possessions movies that happen. It's just like they're always flailing people into the air. And I already had seen reviews for this 10 months ago when it came out because I was curious about it even then. And obviously not seeing the movie, I had already heard that the special effects were supposed to look hokey because it's in the 70s. But I'm like, but then wouldn't that be for us, the viewers, instead of the people there? Wouldn't they see it as being real? So it should look more grounded. I get that the filter in the 4:3 thing is for the aesthetics of the movie, but that doesn't mean the effects have to look hokey, because then that would be fake. It's just like, yeah. So with all that being said, guys, you could tell I don't have a lot of great things to say. Maybe it was overhyped. Maybe I was expecting too much. But I think we need to get to the bandana rating for Late Night with the Devil. And I'm going to give Late Night with the Devil 2 bandanas out of 5. I just did not find it clear in its focus. I did not care for its execution entirely. I thought the concept was good. I by no means think that it's a bad movie, but it's not necessarily a movie that I would want to watch again. And I didn't particularly enjoy myself watching it. Like I said, they should have stuck with the narrative of it actually being entirely 4:3 and back then, and had the filter throughout. Even if you wanted to go to black and white, that's fine. But even that backstage footage is shot very well, very modern shot, as opposed to the TV show. And if somebody says, yeah, that's what we wanted to do, well, you keep taking me out, and there's too many times that we go back to the TV show where there's nothing happening, to where, by the time things do happen, I don't care, because you've taken me in and out of this boring thing so long. But you tell me, what did you think of Late Night with the Devil? Am I being too harsh on it? Who was your favorite late night talk show host? I'll tell you mine, Arsenio Hall. I grew up watching him and occasionally catching Jay Leno, but outside of Arsenio Hall, nobody ever really caught me in the late night talk scene. I was more of a daytime television guy because, when I got sick from school, that's all that was on during the day, as well as game shows, and I wasn't watching that. So you let me know, what'd you think of Late Night with the Devil? Let's talk about it down in the comments below. And if you want to talk about Late Night with the Devil and more, you got to join this channel's memberships. That's right. Thorn Theater has real deal membership laminated cards for all of you Thornaholics out there and horror lovers. Not only that, but you get to request your own reviews. Let's say there's something out there you're really dying for me to review, but the masses may not want it, or it's not something that's gonna move the numbers. Guess what? You pay. You control the narrative. You get early access to videos, live only chats, as well as exclusive watch-alongs just for members right here on this channel. And if you don't feel like committing to that, you can always gift me a super chat, super thanks, or buy me a coffee. Buy me a coffee right now is a way that you can support somebody like me for making videos just for you guys, doing what we love to do. But guess what? If you buy me a coffee, at least you're fueling the journey. And right now, Buy Me a Coffee has an update to where when you leave your note of why you have gifted me coffee, I can respond back to you in video form. And finally, if you like the lights that you see in these videos, whether they be TV lights or anything else that you've seen in my videos, head over to the description down below, because I've got 10% off for you from Govee if you use my affiliate link. Guys, I'm Alex Thorn, and you know what I gotta do. I gotta rock out watch some movies, and review them for you.